Yeah, I'm sorry about the interruption. Yeah, Nigerians had pretty decent deal up until recently, and the current administration, I think over 50 years of independence, is starting to slide away from you to the point now that you're paying above market prices for oil that comes from your own country. Okay, so we are seeing massive coonery on a global scale. We're seeing it with nation states as well as individuals. Many of us young men on YouTube who are professionals, who are either working in education or some form of finance. Well, maybe not finance. Actually, you haven't heard that many black men in finance grumbling, or mind you, probably because they're actually in bed with this satanic exploitative system. But there aren't too many black men who actually see a problem, because if you're working in finance and you're good, then you're going to keep your job on the basis of merit because you make money for the company. So they're not going to see that much. But it's the other sensible black men who actually start to see the demise of the culture and how it's being legislated. We're the ones who are actually vocalizing our discontent, because we can actually see that the powers that be are still doing what they did from slavery to this point. And the funny thing about that is, with all the new, we all know that if you're black, the only way that you're going to get decent media or anything intelligent is off the internet, some form of independent distribution. Never from mainstream media. I mean, Oprah had us tied up in the 80s and 90s and defamed our characters as well as cops. We know that the only way that we're going to hear anything sensible is via independent media. And funnily enough, there have been other independent media that have been springing up. Remember, the plantation from slavery was extended. Okay, we were never emancipated. The plantation was just extended. And the funny thing is, in 2012, you're starting to see these new media groups that are springing up. I'm not going to... Obviously, Alex Jones is like the spearhead of the fear-mongering. But let's look to what the symptoms of the fear-mongering is. Not really the symptoms. Let's see what the diagnosis is. And the diagnosis is the supremacist structure, okay, tightening the screw upon themselves. Now we have these independent media journalists who want to come and tell us about the Bilderberg Group, oh, and the Council of Foreign Relations, and the Club of Rome, oh, and Freemasonry, oh, really? Oh, anyway, you know what? It's good that you're starting to find out about the Rothschilds, well done, and the Gettys and the DuPonts. Yeah, that's good. You're breaking information. But really, I mean, and don't get me wrong, although I sound quite disparaging, I'm a fan of people like Luke Rudkowski. I love Luke Rudkowski's doorstep interviews. Come on, okay? But let's call it what it is. You guys are starting to realize who your own oppressors are, okay? You're starting to realize who's been oppressing us for the last couple of hundred years. Several hundred years, okay? So, you know, I admire the new media, but let's not get it twisted. Like, no one's discovering anything here. All we're starting to see are left-wing, maybe good soul Americans, and when I say that, I mean of the European extraction, starting to realize, hey man, this is not fair. Hey, there's some kind of exploitation going down here. There's secretive groups doing it. Hey, the land of the free is not. We're not really free. The American dream has turned into a nightmare. Yeah, that's right, because you're being sold out. And as you're being sold out, you're starting to realize who's selling you out. And those very people that are selling you out have been the very people that have been oppressing us. Welcome to the party! Welcome. Okay? But, you know, I'm calling it for what it is. That's what this video is meant to be about today. I mean, I did actually have something written out, and I had something quite structured, and then I came in and I just said, what the fuck, I'm just going to go off the top of my head. And, you know, I've actually stopped this twice already, because I actually forgot what I was saying. I was halfway through a ramble, and if I'm going to make points, all of these points need to sync up. Independent media are starting to realize who's oppressing them. They're starting to realize that the plantation was extended from slavery. There was no such thing as emancipation. There was just a widening of the boundaries of slavery. Okay, you got Alex Jones on the radio screaming, "We are not your slaves!" Well, actually, Alex, I think you are. I think you are. But I was actually having a conversation with Heavenly Truth One on the phone the other day, and it's quite funny because from the very off when I came into the truth, I've been in the truth at least like 10, 12 years, but then I came into a spiritual truth. There was an academic truth, okay, and then there's a spiritual truth in terms of my nationality and who I am and why I have no country, and why there's no seat for me on the UN, and who my people were who were enslaved. All of this I found out through an organization called Great Millstone. Okay, they're the people who tended my spiritual flame. Prior to that, I was always doing academic research and trying to work out who I was going through the old historic greats, your Van Sertima's and your J.K. Rogerses and your Dr. Benz and the obviously, all of these guys were at a time, remember, when they were discovering or they were researching their own version of Black history or our version of Black history. Remember, the white supremacist lie was so strong at the time that they were even appropriating Egypt, okay, and some of the other Hamitic cultures. They were appropriating those as well. So it behooved those historians at the time to actually make the distinction that yes, these were actually black peoples, even if they weren't our black peoples, they were other black people. You have to realize how bad the racism was with the older historians and where they were coming from in terms of their assumptions. Okay. As time has gone on, there have been more artifacts found, and there's been revisions of history, and I'm just rambling, explaining my own personal route for discovery. So yeah, I'm actually glad that the independent media are starting to catch up with things, but it's not very good. It's not very good to the extent that everything is so black and white now. I mean, I was having a conversation with Heavenly Truth One way back in the day, and I was advocating that a certain number of us have to go. Okay, the rot is in, and it's in deep. Okay, there is no grafting here. We need keyhole surgery. We need some explorative surgery. We need to cut out a cancer that has been allowed to manifest and reside within our culture to the extent that the white supremacist corporate structure is trying to now use the aberration of black culture, okay, and put out to the world the aberration of black culture. We're talking about your Gucci Mane. You take hip hop and you corrupt it, then you give it out to the world. And you take dance and you turn it into booty poppers and you give it out to the world and say that's what they do. Okay, right? Even though we're the people of body popping, we're the people of salsa, and all of these other more refined tango, all the other more refined types of dances. But yeah, I mean, you corrupt the culture. What they're doing is trying to corrupt the culture and graft off the most negatives, and then give mass media attention to those negatives as though that is us. And so, in short, because I'm just going to kill it because I believe I'm rambling right now. I've gone way off point. Things are just bad. Heavenly Truth One has finally come round to my point of view, which is 2/3 have got to go. Okay, 2/3 have got. We've got to. You can't. What you're going to do? What, go another 2 or 3 generations like this? 2/3 have got to go. The cream needs to gather and choose somewhere and move simultaneously and leave the weave-wearing, pants-sagging, okay, goon, thug, divas, okay, to this society. Let them stay here. Let's go. I think we need to leave, okay? If you think I'm chatting rubbish, let me know.